In the early 1940s, women flooded the workforce to replace men that had gone off to war. They worked in the shipyards and steel mills, built planes, bombs, operated heavy equipment, and so much more. These women were referred to as Rosie the Riveters, proving they could do a man's job and making a path for generations to come. Long before the war, you wouldn't dare see a woman working in the production areas of a steel plant. But today, it looks different. At AK Steel in Middletown, Ohio, you will not find a step in the process of steel making that isn't touched by a woman.
I'm an inspector in quality.
I operate equipment, backhoes, and front-end loaders.
I'm an overhead crane operator. I move coils just like those from one place to another.
And she does it from a bird's eye view, lifting and moving 65,000-pound coils of rolled steel around the yard.
You get to see everything and everyone, and it makes you proud. It really does. Just being up there, being able to lift hundreds of tons a day, it's a neat experience.
Jobs like these are considered non-traditional for women, and often they are faced with having to work harder to justify their worth.
The male-dominated world, it never scared me, and I actually took it as a challenge. It's intimidating at first. I felt like I did have to prove myself a little bit. Now that I know the guys I work with, we're a big team.
You can't come into a workforce like this and say, I'm a woman. And because I'm a woman, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to try. That's not true. You have to try. You have to succeed.
Succeeding for Janine meant navigating both gender and race barriers.
My father gave me a nice talking to when I first came out here. He said, understand, you're black and you're the woman, so just do what you need to do. And I took his advice, and 29 years later, I'm still here. I don't know where else I could have gone to run heavy equipment, or if I decide I wanted to be a clerk, I could, so many different things you can do.
Including sometimes showing the guys a thing or two.
It's really fun when they're struggling and being a woman. You sit here and you go, hold on guys, let me show you this, And then you show it to them and they go, wow, she really knows what she's doing.
Traditionally, the steel industry has been dominated by men, but today the number of women entering the field is growing.
We have more and more women on the ground at the slab yard than ever before. In fact, whenever we get a new person, I assume she's a woman, and I'm normally right.
Neil worked in the blast furnace maintenance building at AK before being elected to his current position with IAM Local Lodge 1943.
There was multiple women in there that could do the job just as well as the men could do. There was no difference in their work ethic or how they were able to perform the work.
Even when it comes to being the voice for your brothers and sisters.
Some people might think I'm not able to represent or defend somebody just as good as a male. I might be not as loud or maybe muscly or hairy, but I can argue pretty good.
For over a century, steelmaking in Middletown has been a staple in the community, from the first step to the last.
We make metallurgical coke in a coke battery, and you take that coke along with other raw materials and you actually put it in the blast furnace. The blast furnace process melts, combines all that with scrap and other things and melts it down to liquid iron. That is then processed over into another department that casts that into big slabs of steel. Those slabs are then transferred over to the hot strip mill, which compresses it down into a more manageable form. It'll come out like a coil of steel. And then from there, there's different processes depending on what the customer needs.
When you think of steel, you often think of something tough and strong, like Cindy, who's been at AK for nearly 29 years. But before she came to the mill,
I was working in another small factory, couldn't get my dream maintenance job at that factory because women weren't allowed to go into maintenance there.
For Cindy, securing a job at the steel mill has been a game changer.
If you can handle the dirt, it pays very well, it gives you a good pension. I'll be 53 when I can retire. I won't have to work anywhere if I don't want to.
A union contract comes with many benefits, including closing the wage gap between men and women.
Fair wages for fair work. I mean, it's great. You actually get paid for the work you do.
There's no, well, you can't do this job, so we're going to put you on a less paying job because of your physical stature or your high school diploma or your college status or anything like that.
It also provides a pathway to the American dream.
I always said as long as I had my job here, I was good. A lot of things can happen in my life, and a lot of things have happened in my life. I've been married twice, divorced twice. I own a house. I have my dream car. I'm getting ready to retire.
You can afford to pay your bills. I'm buying a house. It's a wonderful thing.
Women have always taken on many roles. Balancing work and home is a superpower. And for Janine, this is especially true.
And I just recently became a mother of 3.
After fostering the children for nearly 3 years, Janine knew she had to make them hers. And there's more.
It's a little diversity there in my home because they're all 3 white. I have a blonde head, a brunette, and a little redhead that's as feisty as she can be. It's a bit different, but you know, I try to teach them that it's not about the color of my skin or the color of your skin. I love you to the moon and back.
These women are breaking barriers, changing their own lives while inspiring other women and girls to do the same. We rise when we empower one another. Phenomenal, strong, and fearless. These women of steel are today's Rosie the Riveters, in an industry previously dominated by men, proving without a doubt we can do it.
It's actually very empowering to be a woman in a male-dominated world. I love working beside the men, being able to do the same work that they do. It's awesome.
When you're successful at something that people tell you you can't do, it's the greatest feeling in the world. So give it a try.
For the Machinist News Network, I'm Valana Cochran.